The Unofficial Lounge with Ashante, Cravon, and Monty. We're here to give you the insight into some of the biggest plays you remember, involving the people wearing the stripes. We look at the grit it takes to become an official while exploring the history of officiating with the people who made it. It's more than black and white. On this episode, we talk to the new Fresno State head coach, Kalen, DeBoer.
Yeah, it's one of those things you dream of, and the opportunity to do it here at Fresno State, a place that's got just a strong tradition, so many great players, so many great teams, an awesome fan base. It's a special place, and football is really important here, and it's an honor to be the head coach. I got a great staff that I'm excited to bring to these guys, our team, once we get the chance to play football.
Coach DeBoer tells us how he developed his coaching style.
So you're diagnosing and kind of figuring things out a lot on your own. I didn't learn from, as a GA, I didn't learn from, other coaches sitting around a table in a big staff room.
And finally, Coach DeBoer talks to us about the biggest change in dynamics on the sideline.
This would be the first year in 20 years so I've called plays the last 20 years. Never been to a college football game I haven't called a play for. So paint the Valley red. That's Coach Hill. Yeah, absolutely. Paint the Valley red. We're taking care of business today.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Unofficial Lounge. We have a very special guest today, the head coach of Fresno State, Kalen DeBoer.
Take two.
Take where a burger come from?
What the heck?
Coach,
we apologize.
It's DeBoer.
It's DeBoer. Sorry.
DeBoer.
I said DeBoer. DeBoer.
Hey, it's that LA Unified Education coach. We gotta apologize.
All right.
No, that's the Lancaster Unified.
All right. We're gonna take two on that.
So, Coach, how often does that happen?
Never.
Oh goodness.
So Cravon, what are you doing these coaches meetings?
What's going on, Cravon?
Yeah. What are you doing? Like, you can't come to the meeting with the coach and like, hey, Coach DeBoer, you got your captains ready?
Coach DeBoer. Let it roll off the tongue, Coach DeBoer.
DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer.
He couldn't say Hofstra, Coach, so
Don't feel bad.
Yeah, we were on with Dean Blandino, and it was just a hot mess.
Coach, I will apologize. It's all me. I get
all
certain
good,
things
man.
stuck in my
all
head.
Good.
And I don't bring friends to the show other than you, if you want to be my friend today, because these other two, it's like bringing my two ex-wives on the show with these two.
Hey, pay the check, baby. Alimony.
Coach, I will apologize. I have another name stuck in my head, and no disrespect. Growing up with the name of Cravon, I understand people not pronouncing names right. So you could put this in here, Monty. Coach, I do apologize.
Though, we still How you doing, Coach? Welcome to the show.
DeBoer,
welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
As you can see, it's very unofficial. Ooh. And I used to have two friends, but I'm looking for some new ones. But welcome to the Unofficial Lounge. How excited are you, Coach? Before we get into your background, how excited are you to have your first opportunity as a head coach at the FBS level?
Yeah, it's one of those things you dream of, and the opportunity to do it here at Fresno State, a place that's got just a strong tradition, so many great players, so many great teams, an awesome fan base. It's a special place, and football is really important here. And it's an honor to be the head coach. I got a great staff that I'm excited to bring to these guys, our team, once we get the chance to play football.
Right. We're all sitting back waiting for COVID to decide if we're going to play or not. But it's looking positive for a lot of different conferences. Me and the Pac-12, hopefully we'll hear something in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully that will enable a lot of different conferences to pop on. But, we're excited to have you on the show, Coach, because it brings a whole new element to what we're doing on the Unofficial Lounge. But really, when it comes to coaches and officials, like we like to call the grind that you have to go through to really get to where you are today? So you started out coaching your alma mater, correct?
Yeah. My alma mater is University of Sioux Falls. It's a small private college in South Dakota. I grew up in South Dakota, about 2 hours away from Sioux Falls, and got a chance to play there. Went into a program that really didn't have a lot going. Had maybe one really good year 5 years prior, but in the time I was there, we went 2-8 my first year as a freshman, and when we left, we were 14-0 and national champions.
Wow.
That's not a bad.
Nice.
That's not bad at all. But before you get to your coaching, you were a very talented athlete, weren't you?
Well, I mean, it was a smaller college level, and it was a great place. I wouldn't trade those years for anything. Everyone has the goals of playing Division I, and that was an NAI school. But in that part of the country, NAI is very strong, and now they're a Division II school, University of Falls, and making the playoffs and very successful. So take a lot of pride, and obviously I became the head coach down the road there as well. But just had great teammates and wouldn't change those years for anything.
So how did you get into head coaching?
At the University of Falls, when I graduated in 1998, I spent 2 years at a big high school there, the biggest one in South Dakota, as an assistant coach, and the opportunity to come back and be the offensive coordinator at the University of Falls, my alma mater, was there for me, and coaching with my head coach that I played for, who really was a father figure to me. That was a big deal. And one of my teammates was the defensive coordinator, and for 5 years we all stuck together and had a great run there. And then my opportunity to become the head coach came about when our head coach retired. And so 5 years as the head coach at the University of Falls.
So question, what position did you play in football?
I was a wide receiver. Receiver. Yep.
Offensive guy. Okay.
Yep.
Head coach now, Sioux Falls is Division II. Was that process starting while you were head coach there?
It was in 2008 or so, somewhere in there, 2008. It was the paperwork and all that kind of was beginning, and the process was starting. 2009, we won another national championship. And by 2010, I think that was the last year that they were in NAI. I was gone at that season. And in the 11, I think the 2011 year was the first year in Division II, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
Okay. That's great. I know that can be a task. I worked for a small university that was just starting out sports for some time. So I know going from one division or NAIA to NC2A can be a lot of work. So even though you weren't there to be a part of the final process, I know it took a lot for you even while you were there. So that's a great accomplishment for us.
Yeah, I think the big thing was just, our consistent success led to a confidence level where, football for sure could move on and compete at that next level. And in 2009, we actually beat the University of North Dakota, which was a 1AA team at that time.
Right.
And so that was a big deal. That process of going to Division II had already taken place, or not taken place, but it was in the process when that happened. And then I think it just brought a lot of the other sports along. Basketball's had a lot of success at the Division II level, as well as many of the other sports.
So Coach, when you're starting out coaching, what's the next process? Were you content with being at your alma mater, or what did you feel was the next process that you go up to the next level?
Yeah, I think at that point, I just loved coaching so much, and I was so passionate about our program there at the University of Falls, and I was all in on that. And we had a motto that we were going to make the big time where we were at, and that's what we did. We just worried about ourselves and starting a family and everything. And all my family was there, and all my close friends were nearby that I'd played with, that I coached with. The town of Sioux Falls was home. And, so I wasn't like I was ever looking. A couple opportunities, maybe be a coordinator at Division II school had come around. And I think there came a point, though, in the 2008-9 season. We had won a championship in 2006. We lost the championship in 2007. We won the championship in 2008 and won the national championship again in 2009. that's when the right opportunity to go to Southern Illinois came along in 2010. And, it's just a lot of great things that happened. And, then it kind of starts entering your mind that, okay, if I want to coach at a higher level than where I was at, I probably needed to take an assistant job somewhere at a higher level to gain that experience, and that existed when I went to Southern Illinois.
Got you.
Well, that's a big thing because a lot of people like to be the big fish in the little pond for a long time. So
he already got the statue at Sioux Falls, so he didn't have anything else to do. Right?
got him with that ball out, huh?
Yeah, when they put a statue up, Coach.
There's none there. My head coach. There's a lot of great players that have gone through the program. So
I'm starting that fund for you, Coach.
Yeah.
$2. I got $2 on the statue.
So you got to get some of that fracking money to start getting that statue going in South Dakota. You'd be good to go.
That's a little bit more in North Dakota, but that's you're right. You're right.
So, Coach, when you told the family, like, hey, I'm going to Southern Illinois, what was their reaction? Because that's a big jump, you being a local.
Yeah, it's one of those things you obviously talk through with your family. And at that time, my wife Nicole and I had been married, right at 9 years, 8.5, 9 years, and we had our first daughter, and that was really it. She was 4 at the time, so that was a huge leap of faith because our entire family was there. You got some young kids, and you and your wife were both working, and it wasn't like it was that going there to make more money, and she made that sacrifice to find a job, which she had a great job in pharmaceutical sales at the time in Sioux Falls, and here we are moving to Sioux Falls or moving to Southern Illinois. So that was a huge sacrifice on her end. It was there were some moments there in those 4 years where you're trying to figure out, be nice to get back closer to home now that you got 2 kids, which our second was born in 2012.
So, Coach, for us as officials during our off season, we'll go to clinics and camps to where we'll learn from other officials, at the NFL level and so on. Is that the same for you as a coach? Do you go to coaches clinic in the off season, especially while you were at Sioux Falls and so on, to kind of build up your name in the coaching world?
Well, I think a lot of it for me was just when we were winning national championships, and that was kind of over and over and over again. That was kind of how I became a little bit more known, and when you're a head coach at a small school, it's interesting. We had 3 full-time coaches as all, myself, the defensive coordinator, and our special teams coordinator, and I ran the offense as well. The rest of the coaches were part-time. In 2008 or 2007, we picked up a coach part-time, and he became full-time in 2008. He's actually my offensive coordinator here at Fresno State now, Ryan Grubb. And so when you're doing that, you're going so hard that you really don't have a lot of opportunities. Maybe you get to the coaches convention, which we would go to the clinic at the AFCA, and maybe one other place you'd go visit a small group. And so the networking certainly is important. It's a lot harder to do when you're at a small school because, you leave campus and a lot of things are going on, and there's really no one else there to take care of it for you, even if it's just a couple days.
So at this time, who are your mentors? So I know you said your previous head coach was he still active in trying to tutor you to in that role, or?
Yeah, he's a guy I was always close to, and he was a great one to learn from a head coaching standpoint, and just his organization. He was an offensive guy as well, so the details that he had put so much time into learning, and Coach Bob Young is his name, and he certainly did a great job and was a heavy influence for me that way. I think the rest of it was just self-learned. Even think about now, we didn't have access to the video that you have nowadays. And so, anytime you can get your hands on videotape, and at that time it was probably turned into DVD from VHS, but, I just watched those as much as I could. And, nowadays it'd be nice to flip on, YouTube or Google a coach's name. You can probably find a nice instructional video. That wasn't the case. And So you're diagnosing and kind of figuring things out a lot on your own. I didn't learn from, as a GA, I didn't learn from, other coaches sitting around a table in a big staff room. It was myself and my best friend, who was my quarterback as a collegiate player, was our quarterbacks coach. And he's been the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm indoor football team for many years. And they've won, I think, I don't know, I think it's 12 or 13 championships. It's a lot. But we kind of figured out things together along with the other coaches on the staff and grew that way.
Oh, so you tweak your own offense into your own mode instead of bits and pieces. So
I think the biggest thing I learned in those years, when I think about 2000, 2001, we were running G option. Our quarterback would carry it 27, 28 times a game. We were watching Nebraska cut-ups from the G option days, different options. And then you get into the 2004, 2005, and we started getting a little bit more spread and some no huddle. And then in 2006, we lost a national semifinal game, and we put our defense on the field too much. And we got back to a lot of the shifts and motions in 2007, 2008, and 2009. And controlled the football. And we had that kind of pro spread feel, where you could do a little bit of both. You could turn on the tempo, run your RPO screens a little bit. But more than anything, you still had to be physical. And in South Dakota, where we were hosting a lot of playoff games in November and December, that's still really what it came down to, was building a physical ball control offense. And I think in 2008, I think our offense had the ball for about 37, 38 minutes a game on average. So we won a lot of championships, especially me being really the only full-time coach on offense. I catered to defensive staff, that could make the adjustments, special teams as well. And I worried about being a head coach and trying to keep it simple for us on that side of the ball.
So
hold on.
Right.
So Coach, that you've been here spouting these things off about these championships and everything. We got to give you a little props on that. You that's a little big time, Coach. Hold up. So hold up. I apologize, Coach. Normally, Monty, I got to tell you to press the button. Man, let me press it again. See, that's that alumni thing.
But hold on, Coach. I have to tell you, as an official, can you get back to that ball control offensive 38 minutes? Because that sounds
trying to get that clock to run.
During the game, you guys probably only had a total of about 160 plays, total for the game. I love that as an official. These 220, 210 plays a game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and we still have a lot of the same. We're no huddle for the most part now, but the same philosophy. Changing up the tempos is a big thing for us. And be able to go fast when we need to, but making sure execution is the priority is certainly still what we're all about. You got to convert on third down. You got to stay on the football field to win football games.
Unfortunately, Coach, me and Monty are at a different level than Craven. He's a Power 5 official. We happy with whatever level coach tempo the coach wants to run.
I'm happy with all levels, but boy, oh boy, I love ball control.
He on TV, Coach. He don't like them 4-hour games. Me and Monty, we would enjoy those games.
I love it.
Southern Illinois to 2014, you head over, pack up the family. Now you're going to Eastern Michigan. How did your family take that as a trip?
Yeah, well, I think one thing that's been consistent with almost every one of my moves, Southern Illinois, I did not know the head coach, Dale Lynn at the time. I did not know Chris Creighton, the head coach at Eastern Michigan. Wow. I went to Fresno State, in 2017. I did not know Jeff Tedford. I did know Tom Allen at Indiana. So, but I knew Tom Allen because he and Chris Creighton at Eastern Michigan, they had coached together. And so Tom was kind of paying attention to what we were doing there. In 2014, we did go to Eastern Michigan and took over that program. And, a place that was had been tough to win at. And we really got that turned around, and they continue to do a great job. I'm super proud of what they continue to accomplish because, they're continuing to keep it going. And Chris does an awesome job there.
I got one for we might as well press the button for this after something. You went up from a head coach to a coordinator. Like you said, you never learned. You wasn't a position coach. So all these jobs you had, you continued success as a coordinator. So Like, and you saying you not knowing these coaches, which is another different thing. They like to bring their guys that they're familiar with. So
Yeah.
you was doing something
Special.
something good, coach.
Sounds like
Yeah,
success.
I appreciate that. And I think that's something. I mean, that for you to recognize that, I think that means a lot. At Southern Illinois, I was the only new coach on the staff, and that's hard because you're coming into a spot where you're bringing your system and everything you do. But fortunately, I think all the moves that I've been able to make before I said yes, I understood the type of people that were at these places,
Gotcha.
from the head coach to the rest of the coaches on the staff. And they are all really good people at every place I've been. And, fortunately, when you make those moves and you're around really good people that, that you can work with and enjoy going to work with, you become successful because you put everything into it and you work together. And, I think I've always taken the route that I'm going to be a lifelong learner. I'm going to keep learning here, even on this job. And when you do that, I think people really realize that as the assistants, so the position coaches, as I'm a coordinator at the last 4 or 5, the last 4 places before now, having them all involved and them being a part of the game planning and the part of, the off-season evaluation, everyone feeling like, hey, they got a real strong role in the team and that you're going to listen to what they have to say and that you're not above them. And I've learned as much from my assistants, I know, as I hope they've learned from me.
You can hit the button now, Monty.
Big time, Coach. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So
No, it's great. It's great to hear that though, Coach, because as you start to be in the same conference as I've been blessed to be now, you start to get familiar with where the coaches move around and you can almost see like, okay, this offense coordinator came to this school, so here goes the receivers coach. Or me being in Southern California, the guys that recruit Southern California, so it was a new job in the conference, so you see the recruiter in Southern California go to that new school. So by you not being as familiar with those head coaches, getting to know them and understanding where you're moving, but not having even previous relationship with them and them hiring you, is saying that you are doing something special on your side of the ball as an offensive coordinator. And then now, how do you take that and move it into the head coach's position? You were there before.
Down, Cravon. We speeding up too much. Please speed. You skipping something. So
he's been the offensive coordinator at Fresno State.
Yeah, he was then he came to Fresno State. Like let's put you about to get into the head coach. No. Because the man, Coach, I want to stunt for you, Coach. I know you can't say it, but you have a level. So you're winning. Okay, so now you go from Eastern Michigan to now, okay, Tefra. Who reached out to who for this Fresno State opportunity? Because that's a big stump. If you can make that jump studying under offensive guy, that means what you're doing is success, right, Coach?
Yeah, it's certainly it's amazing how it all worked out. And it really just comes down to Coach Tedford, Jeff Tedford, just doing his due diligence on trying to find the right guy that's the right fit. And I didn't even realize there was an opening here at Fresno State at the time. And got reached out to and I got a chance to really spend some time on the phone and through the interview days later, we had really hit it off. And I knew that this was a big move because understanding what Jeff Tedford was as an offensive mind and how successful he had been in all his years as a head coach and a coordinator before that, I knew this was going to be a special time. And then add on top of what Fresno State was all about. I knew that this was a different deal than where I'd ever been before. And so I knew it'd be a great challenge as well because there's awesome expectations. I have always looked at that as the alternative isn't much fun. And so let's take on the challenge, to take on the expectations and continue to learn under one of the best that's known the game. And Jeff was awesome. And what it really did is I think working with Jeff, it really verified all the thoughts that I had created over the years, and really studying the game of football. And I think he really verified, because I trusted him that all the things we were doing were what he believed in, and it's what I believed a lot in throughout all my time. So, but it's been awesome ever since. And we had 2 magical years here, going 10-4 and 12-2, and turning the program that was 1-11 before we got here.
Hold on, Coach. With the Mountain West championship.
That's that alumni.
Go Dogs. Now we're going. Now we're talking.
I don't condone that one. I don't condone that one, Coach. I'll let you do everything.
Now you're getting me fired up. Go Dogs.
So after that, you had those 2 successful years. You end up now, Cravon. This is where your question comes in. How do you transfer that into a head coaching job?
We forgot. Hold up. Because I'm a skill. Because of Hughes. We got the Indiana one. Because now he got the success. So now he want to go to the big boys.
Right.
The Power 5. Right? Now, Coach, now you want to show I can play with the big boys. Even though it's no offense. But,
Hey, he got to a bowl game last year. They went to a bowl game.
So how was that, Coach, going to the big 10?
Well, I think, again, it just goes back to understanding who you're going to be working with. And I was the only new coach on the entire staff coming in, and the offensive staff and the whole entire staff and the players as well. They had been working together over the previous 2 years and laid a great foundation. And what I was able to see is there was great people. There were some really good players that had been recruited, and that they were getting really close from what I saw, watching game film. And last year was a magical season for us there, going 5-3 in the Big Ten, and winning 8, going 8-4 in the regular season, and some big wins on the road at different places, and being pretty consistent along the whole stretch offensively. It just continued to give you confidence as a coach, as a play caller, you name it. Doing it at that level against those teams, it was pretty special. And again, it came down to the people you were working with, and that's what they have there at Indiana. A lot of props to Tom Allen and that staff.
So, Coach, I got another, because I'm seeing you're always the new guy, and that's a hard thing to fit in, even as officials being a new guy on a veteran crew. And it seemed like you had that success. So as you had that first initial success, I can say basically your confidence built to where you can just walk in any room, right? So how was that with recruiting at those places too? Yeah,
and every staff, along the way has been really aggressive as recruiters, and when, as long as you're having the opportunity to choose the job you're going to get to go to, you can make a good decision on the one you're having an opportunity to take. And I've seen that at all those staffs, from Eastern Michigan to Fresno to Indiana, and great staffs that work together. Because when you work together, you can really recruit some great players, because players want to be part of that, and there's a lot of hard work that goes into recruiting elite talent. So they did an awesome job, and I think that's a lot of what our success is right now in the recruiting. That's gone pretty well here at Fresno State as well.
So your recruiting process, what is your recruiting process? Are you scouring high schools? Are you scouring the JCs?
This is the alumni question. I'm sorry. I'm not. Hold up. I'm not even gonna let this question go through, Coach.
Oh no, we got to answer this. So, are you scouring? Basically, are you scouring high schools? Are you scouring JCs? What is your recruiting style?
Yeah, and I think every place it's been different. At Eastern Michigan, it was hard to get the high school kids that were local, and so you kind of built it. We built our receiving core in 2016 with a bunch of junior college transfers and an offensive line through the 3 years that we were there. Coming out here, and then kind of just finishing Indiana, that's a lot of the high school recruiting, because it's a different, the Big Ten and recruiting there. It's hard to do through a junior college. Out here in California, you have just amazing talent at the high school level, and being a successful, traditionally successful program here at Fresno State, with a lot of alumni up and down the state coaching at these high schools, you're able to successfully bring in some high-level talent from the state. On top of that, you have definitely what I would consider the greatest junior college
There it is.
of junior colleges here up and down the state of California. So you have the best of both worlds, and that's why I think Fresno State's it's not a diamond in the rough because everyone's kind of known about it, but it's a great place to be, and we're right in the middle of the state, and so we're pretty easy to get here from the north as well as the south, and the talent in the Central Valley here where we live and where all that pride of Bulldog football exists. We certainly make sure we tap into that first and foremost.
Is that where you paint the Valley red?
Paint the Valley red. That's Coach Hill. Yeah.
So we don't.
Hold on.
We don't know.
Move on. So we don't help you out, Craymon. So Coach,
we don't know. No. Hold on. Wait. I have to give the coach some credit. He mentioned it a little bit, but me just being a California guy, because we ain't gonna get this from our Auburn guy, Coach. I mean, you just think about it. You are now sitting in Central California, the greatest state in all 50. Sorry, people. That Alabama, you have more high schools playing football in the southern section of California than 45 states combined. You have the most feudal. I mean, when you talk about JC football, it's the best. You have, I believe,
37.
No. In the
37
state,
schools in this. I don't care about the North.
There's 67 in the state that play football. That is so big that they have their own conference. They don't even go against the national rankings. It's this California football, Southern California football, and everybody else. I mean, when you think about it, you are sitting in a prime position to where Fresno State, when it's rolling, is one of the top programs in California at all levels of football.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, that's the way I feel, and just hearing you talk about it, gets me fired up. This is an amazing opportunity, and I recognized that when I was out here in 2017, 2018, and you leave a place, and I wanted Jeff to coach here forever and get things done. But it's one of those you're like, man, I could definitely go back to that place, and would love that opportunity whenever that comes, and no matter where I was at, because. We think of ourselves as a program that should, be in the top 25, and we should be competing for a conference championship every single year. And all those are because of what you just mentioned with the recruiting area and base that we get to recruit year in and year out.
I mean, because it's a great program to keep kids in state, right? I mean, from kids that live in the north, they live in the south, they live in the central. The parents can get there easily. It's an easy, travel game for parents to get there.
The 5 is not that easy.
Man, but they've got right off the highway. You got the Save Mart Center. You've got the Bulldog Stadium.
Hold up, you guys sounding like alumni. I'm not. No, we're not doing
I am. And I got to thank the alumni Association for getting us this interview also. So part of the recruiting process, Coach, I heard that Fresno State's one of the first athletic departments to actually work with their student athletes on the, I think it's called NIL, Name, Image, and Likeness, working with the company called Open Doors. What's that all about?
Yeah, we've partnered with Open Doors, and we've also partnered with Jeremy Darlow. And, just that's the way direction everything's going. I think I give our administration a lot of credit to understand that we need to be ahead of the game with these partnerships. And, we're already having with these partnerships the opportunity for our guys to have their social media, evaluated and all of that at some point here in the next year. The name, image, and likeness is going to be a part of us. And, so I'm excited for our guys that they get this to be able to, take advantage of. And I'm all for it. I had brought this to our administration, during the COVID shortly after that. And it's one of those things you kind of worry about, like, okay, we got to let enough others, but they jumped all over it because they recognize how important this can be for our student athletes. And, just another reason why, I think guys are looking at our staff, our program, our administration, and realizing that, we're forward thinking people, and we really want what's best for them. And we want to create an opportunity for them that lasts beyond football, college football, and even their football days beyond college.
So it sounds like you guys are really taking care of the students. I heard you guys had a combined GPA of 3.49 for the kids.
For football we were 3.32, so we didn't live
okay.
up to quite your number there. But as a university athletic program, we were in that range. So it was the highest. 3.32 is the highest in the history of the football program. And so I give our guys a lot of props, and that comes from the recruiting that's taken place the last few years in getting the right guys here, but also our staff and from the coaches through the academic support staff, everyone working really hard, and again our guys buying into that philosophy and realizing that there's more to it than just football.
And that's from conquering a task one task at a time. What's the saying? You
done with this alumni section? Like we done.
There's a scorecard. 1-0, always 1-0. What?
1-0.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh my
Taking
God.
care of business today.
Taking care of
anybody
business
out
today.
there? Give me Gus Miles' own number, please. Come on. All right, Coach. Let's go back to the football stuff because Monty skipped you being the head coach. So, did you work the bowl game at Indiana, Tennessee this year?
I did. That was my last.
Unfortunately, Craven was on that game with you.
Really?
He was one of the officials.
Yeah, he's the one at the coin toss that was having problems with everybody's names.
So, and that's where we want to lead. So, and this is where I want to go. As a coach, how did you deal with the officials now, right? Were you up in the booth or were you
I was in the box. So yeah, it's not much. It's not much. I'm sure we would have meshed Craven though. We would have gelled. You'd have communicated well with me, and it'd have been all good.
Was that the illegal snap play? Who was
that was on Tennessee. That was on Tennessee.
Oh, so he liked you then, Coach.
Right.
He would have liked you then, Craven. They only like us when they winning. So, Coach, so let's describe. Okay, at all the stops you've been, as far as officiating, like how did you deal with the officials? Because that's something that people don't look at, that chess match that coaches and officials play.
There's three teams on the field.
They don't look at us.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's been 10 years since I've been on the field calling plays, and so I was on the field my first 10 as a coordinator, and then as a head coach, and then the last 10 I've been in the box. But I think that it's important. I mean, I always hope there's that respect both ways, and I mean, everyone's just trying to do the best they can. I'm trying to help my team win a football game and making sure everything's right. And I know the officials are doing everything they can to get the calls right. And so that's the way you got to go in, because some guys do go in like they're already getting the raw end of the deal before it starts. And that's unfortunate.
So, but like you said, Coach, I understand, like, when you want to coach, like, I know it's not me that you're screaming at. I know you're trying to pump your team up. So some guys take it personal, like, hey, this coach is being oblique, but being disrespectful. But I'm like, I know he has to pump his team up. So, I know you look at some officials like, okay, this guy doesn't get it, or he hasn't played before. This moment is too big for him. But it's good to hear you say that. So,
no, I think communication's the big thing. I don't care what it is. We talk about communication every day in our program, but anytime you can have that communication from official to coach, I think that always makes you feel better on the sideline about what's going on.
True. And even with the players, it's like, also, Coach, I told your player, but at the same time, I'm talking to your players to calm them down. Like, hey, I'm not telling you what you're doing is wrong, but if you keep doing this, it's a foul.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I know being – hold up, Craven.
No.
So him being an offensive guy, I know he always want DPI. Right. Him being an offensive guy.
And he was a receiver.
Yeah,
and a receiver. That's right.
And he always pushed off.
Right. No. I've learned that when you're talking to offensive guys, they don't pick, they rub. Right? When they're doing the crossing route, it's not a pick, it's a rub. It's a rub. It's a
mesh. It's a mesh play.
Right.
Yeah, it's meshed up.
Yeah, you know the lingo.
It's meshed up.
He's been successful for too long. He know the lingo. It's a mesh.
Right.
They got intertwined.
Yeah.
but it is definitely a relationship in the officials from the start of the game to the end of the game, and it's all about communication. And I think that's where a lot of officials and a lot of coaches sometimes miss out with that opportunity to just communicate. We're going to I think sometimes for me and the guys that I work with, I teach them to over communicate, just so we have as much information, and coaches like it. But then you also got to be smart enough to know when to let a coach, especially if you're a head coach that calls plays. It's different dealing with a head coach that calls plays than a head coach that doesn't call plays, offensively or defensively. Because if you're calling plays and you're on offense, you're going to be a little distracted at the point in time compared to if you were on defense, where you're more focusing. Not saying you're not focusing on the game, but if you're calling plays, that 40-second play clock is short.
Yep. No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. So this would be the first year in 20 years so I've called plays the last 20 years. Never been to a college football game I haven't called a play for. So this will be the first time. We got a coordinator that I've known and coached with at 3 different universities, Ryan Grubb, and we've coached together for 9 years. And so, we're on the same page, and he does a great job. And so, just having that perspective where I'm not just involved with the offensive play calling, I think is important for our team, for me to be in that position, to be able to have that communication and be, consistent, like you're talking, and not be just all caught up in just the play calling. So I think you're exactly right.
Because there's a lot of – hold on 1 second. But there's a lot of responsibility as a head coach at a big-time program, pre-game, post-game. I mean, you have a lot of responsibilities with the game. Right. There's a lot of things that you have to do. So that's good to know that you've already know and understand, hey, it's better for the group to allow somebody else to be the play caller.
He still got to say so, Craven.
He's still
pulling out the trump card. Like, I don't like that. Like, let's be honest. Like, I hear what he's saying now. He's just letting his offensive coordinator feel good. But hey, when it comes down to it, run this play. So, Coach, I got one for you. So, you at the success at Indiana. Now you get this phone call in December. You hearing the stuff. How did you feel at that moment about Telford maybe possibly stepping down and reaching out to you? How was that feeling, and what did you go through?
Well, I knew, because when I left here, I'd felt that this is a place I would come back to whenever that opportunity came along, if it came along. And the hard part is that we really enjoyed not just the coaching staff and everything, but living in Indiana. It was something my family got, the process. You got to sell a house in Fresno, and you got to buy one, and then you go through spring ball and you move them in, and we had literally, finished decorating, one of the rooms in our house about a month before, all of a sudden we're moving back out. And so those are the hard things, because there's family. That's a big part of this too. And I got a freshman daughter and a third grade daughter in third grade. And so I think knowing that we were coming back to a place where they had friends and they knew, I think that made it a lot easier. So we were able to do it, but they were just getting settled in and really enjoyed the friends that they were making there in Indiana. So we were excited. We couldn't be more happy to be back here in Fresno. We love it here. But again, every place has been hard when you leave. I've grown to love the people I work with and made some strong relationships in a short amount of time at Indiana. Again, it comes down to the people that you're around, and I loved going to work every single day I was there.
So, Coach, when we get hired, the most exciting phone call we get is when that supervisor at the next level gives us the call and say, hey, welcome aboard. So now you being the head coach, you get to make those calls, hiring some friends that you maybe known for some time, or hiring people that you have crossed paths with. How was it for you being able to make those phone calls to hire staff?
Yeah, it's really exciting. If you look at our staff, our coordinator and our safeties coach, we were the three of the four at the University of Sioux Falls. So there were 4 of us full time. The other coach is currently the head coach at the University of Sioux Falls. So that's exciting. And then when I went to Southern Illinois, the defensive line coach that we have here and our special teams coordinator here, it's the same person. He was our special teams coordinator there at Southern Illinois. Our strength coach, Ron McKeefrey, who's a legend, been all over the place as a strength coach again. I went to Indiana, and that's where I met William Inge, who's our defensive coordinator, and Kirby Moore, our receivers coach, I coached with here at Fresno State, and Ryan Grubb. So there's really only 2 coaches that I did not know that we hired on staff, and we nailed it with those guys, and we spent a lot of time. Very few interviews for really the other spots, and a lot of interviews going into those last 2 positions. And Julius Brown and Paul Creighton, one on each side of the ball, are 2 guys that got hired. And then I forgot Roman Sapolu, our offensive line coach. He was here last year with the previous staff, and so he, and the relationship with Ryan Grubb was certainly important to keeping that continuity.
So how many DMs have you gotten just interest from everybody talking about my nephew good can fit your program as being assistant coach? I know you email short those email requests about jobs.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
Yeah. And you know what? You welcome that, because everyone's, that's part of it. And I try to answer all of them, pick up the phone, call them. I mean, have the interviews, even calling those guys, and just realizing that, hopefully someday, it will work out for them, and it may be even with you. It's just the timing. It's all about timing and the right opportunity. And I just love our staff, because it's great coaches with great character that are meshing well together, and they all leave their ego at the door, and we got something special, and that's why we can't wait to get on the football field and continue to develop this program, because we really haven't had that opportunity yet, other than about a month together. We've really, as a full staff, had less than a month with these guys in person. And so we want to get a chance to develop, and can't wait to get through this crazy time that we've been going through.
So hold up, Monty. I got one for you. This is for you, Monty.
Go ahead.
As a coach, let's talk about how you're going to try to.
Well, let's talk about big time, Coach. What we need to say?
The culture, you're trying to instill your culture now. Like you said, you're going from Telford, so your culture. What's the culture you're trying to embed into your players?
Well, a lot, and that's the beauty of this place, is there's a tradition that's really strong, and the foundation of it is built on things that I believe in. And there's so many people that love the program, and so many great players. Embracing that past, I think, is critical when you have a program that's been as strong as Fresno State. And it was easy for me to understand that, because I'm coming from, in my alma mater, was a tradition strong program, and the coaches that have followed me there since 2009 have embraced that, and I've seen the success be able to be carried on. And knowing that, and having those 2 years here was really critical, because I built enough relationships. I got a chance through Jeff Tedford to understand, because he was a Bulldog and he coached here. I really understood, what this place is all about, and the pride that the alumni and the Valley and the everyone had. And so we embraced that, and whether it's Jim Sweeney and what he did here, Pat Hill, and then obviously working with Jeff, it's been special. And the word tough is one that I think just describes Bulldog football over all of those decades of great football play. And that's where it starts. And then, in the end, though, our teams are always going to be unified, tough, and we just want to have that starving mindset, and continue to always get better each and every day.
So you put that into practice with alumni Zooms. Don't you bring back David Carr, other alumni players? I haven't got the call yet, but hopefully it's coming soon. But doing alumni Zooms, other things while you're trying to bring these kids in, and really you're responsible for these young men. I wouldn't even call them kids at that point. They're 18. Yep. What type of things? I've noticed that Fresno State actually, even diversity, I saw that socially on social networks, the Fresno State Athletic, they celebrated Juneteenth. I noticed even on your, I don't know if it was Twitter or Instagram, you actually participated in the Blackout Tuesday on June 2nd. Yep. What are you doing to make sure that all these young men understand their responsibility on Bulldog Lane?
Yeah, that's really been the really amazing part of all this is that first of all, the staff and understanding the significance and buying into what I believe in, and then the players, and all this has been done through Zoom, and really trusting us, and I think us being open with them and being real with them, and they've been able to trust us that these things really do matter to us as a staff, and that we do have a greater purpose other than just winning football games. And it's been really cool, sharing these times, and our guys in ways have always impressed me, not surprised me because I know what type of kids we have, but they've really impressed me through all of this, whether it's getting, our team to vote and, our Unity Council making that a significant thing. And that we done that months ago, and we had some guys that just step up and say some things that hadn't really said anything before, but what I hope to do is to provide an environment, and facilitate the opportunity for these guys to feel comfortable speaking up, speaking to their coaches, and then in the end, us, coming up with ways where we can make a difference and make an impact and have an impact, in a lot of different ways on a lot of different levels.
Hey, Coach, hit the button on that, Monty, because Coach, you made me a fan. I may just see my 2 degrees back to Auburn University, Coach. I just bought into the coaching right now, Coach.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
you did a great job, because I remember being a walk-on and we had a different coach come in, and what you're telling me, I can believe everything you're saying, and I would want to play for you. But on the other side, flip side, as an official, you probably be getting on my nerves right now because you're telling me, Ashante, that DB is pressing my guy, and you guys are not seeing it. Like, I'm trying to run this play. Right? I'm trying to run a fade. What's going on?
So, Coach, talking about when it comes to you were in the booth for the last 10 years, but as far as practices at the universities that you've been the last few years, how engaged were having officials at the practice and being involved with, that development of the team, which is important?
Yeah, I think that's huge. Those scrimmages, when you have the officials there, are a big deal. And I always have tried to make sure as the coordinator that I understand the rule changes and I know how they're going to apply when I got to make that split-second decision on a play call. And how, that rule is going to be perceived, and, even taking advantage of the rules, right? I better speed I better speed up and hurry up and get a call because this play is getting reviewed, and
right.
And those type of things. And just, I don't know, I like talking to people, and
there you go.
Those officials that come down on the field, they love the game, You guys love the game, and you're doing it for a reason yourself, and you love being around the sport. You love being around the people. That's what that's a lot of why a lot of coaches end up coaching. I have greater reasons, to hopefully give our guys the experience that I had as a player when I was their age, and to help propel them onto careers that and be motivated to make a difference as well. But getting back to your question, I just love talking to those guys. The officials, no matter when it is, because they're people, they're just going about it and looking forward to having a great night. And yeah, the pressure's on them, just like it's on me as a play caller or a head coach. But in the end, we all love what we're doing.
Right. Well, I took the philosophy, Coach, and I tell people this all the time. When thankfully I have been able to move up and officiate, and Ashante and Monty are doing the same thing. But as you move up, you have to start realizing that you're, as a head coach and offense coordinator, you've been able to make those moves by choice, getting hired at different positions and so on. But when a coach is getting on us because they are upset about a call, the whole staff can be affected by a call to game and different things. So when I start seeing the different commas on your paychecks compared to the high school coaches that was getting, a $3,500 a year stipend compared to a head coach now, in the Power 5 that I'm at. I think the least amount he's making is probably about $2 million a year. I understand he's screaming at me. I get it. So we got to give you a little bit more because there is a lot more pressure on you. I mean, you are a whole community when you're a head coach at a big time university like you are. You are a whole community, and you are the person in charge of that.
I think that's called painting the Valley red.
Painting the Valley.
I don't condone this.
Hit that button. Hit that button.
Hold on. He can't say that. The coach can't say hit the button.
Hey, wait.
The guest doesn't say that.
I had to.
That is,
Me and mine, we're right here.
Right here. So, Coach, I'll just tell my experience with Bulldog football was back in the 90s, the David Carr days and everything. I was working for Budweiser, humping kegs of beer up and down that stadium. I think 200, 300 kegs of beer, making sure
it's crazy.
Making sure Fresno State fans were very, very rowdy. And just the days of Fresno State that I remember, it's just loved every minute of it, man. And I just have the feeling that you're going to continue to make it a great place for people to send their kids.
No, I appreciate that, and it's a place that has a lot of passion. Everyone around the program, and we want to push great alumni on to be able to bring their kids here someday, just like a lot of our players are. And the dreams of playing at Bulldog Stadium. That a lot of these local kids in the Valley have. We want to make sure we're doing it the right way, and that they see it done in a way that they have a lot of pride, and we're looking forward to doing that here, hopefully sooner than later.
Absolutely. So at this point, Coach, we've got a little game we play. It's called Under Review.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll ask you a couple questions, and just off the top of your head, just shoot out an answer. Doesn't have to be a good answer. We'll be the judge of that. All right, Coach. Okay, Coach. Where has officiating I'm sorry. This is Coach. I'm thinking of fishes. Hold on. Let's do this again. All right. Where has coaching allowed you to travel that you would have not went to had it not been for coaching?
Yeah, Bahamas.
Ooh.
And Hawaii so far.
Wow.
So, I mean, and this isn't a quick answer. My kids, how about this? My kids, I told you their ages, they're younger kids. We went to a bowl game in the Bahamas one year. The very next year, Hawaii. The very next year, Vegas. And then last year for the Gator Bowl. And so my kids got high expectations. It's a little getting a little unrealistic right now.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
Right.
No, it's been awesome.
Okay. Coach, what career accomplishment has made you the most proud?
Yeah, that's becoming tougher. I think that every place there's been a time, the championship in 2009 when we're the Friday night before having a meeting, a team meeting, and guys are crying because they're sharing how much they love each other, and you just know at that point your culture is where you want it to be. You've built it the right way. Doing something like that similar at Eastern Michigan, where it was a 1-11 program and we're going to the first bowl game in 30 years, and then, that turning the culture around here in 1 year from a 1-11 team to a 10-4, and then the best record in school history at 12-2 the following year. I can't say that there's one, but it's been special, winning the games, last year, Indiana going to Nebraska, and winning Nebraska. That was a big time win for that program and a special time because we became bowl eligible, that game as well, and experiencing some of those experiences.
Awesome. All right, final question, Coach. What do you think of when the referee says the previous play is under review?
Well, it obviously depends on what side you're on. But it's under review. You got your fingers as a play caller on 2 calls because it's either going to be, first and 10 because it's a penalty that's for you, or you're 2nd and 25 on a targeting or
right,
some type of first and 25. And so you got your fingers on 2 play calls, or the guy caught it inbounds and maybe he was out of bounds for a touchdown. And so you're looking at, it's 4th and goal from the 2, or it's, a touchdown. And so you're always thinking ahead and trying to keep making sure you got 11 guys on the field. That seems to always be the problem. Is guys are running off and not realizing what's happening, and you're kicking a PAT, and you got 10 guys lined up for the PAT. So, staying ahead of those things, because it's a subtle, sudden change sometimes that exists.
Yeah. On those sudden changes, on the punts, keep the team off the field till the play's over.
on
those punts, though, man, they're shooting out of there before the ball's even dead.
Before the ball even dead, the offense running on the field. You're right.
And coach, it ain't nothing worse for an official getting hit by a 6'4", 275-pound, offensive guard.
That's the light one.
Right.
Yeah, right.
They 330.
That's the long snapper.
It hurts.
Well, thank you, Coach. Really appreciate you spending the time with us, Coach. I just really, I got to thank the Alumni Association for putting this together for us. Anytime you want to come back on, please feel free.
Coach, he wore his – Coach, we've been around this young man for 5 years. I've never seen him wear anything Fresno State.
Well, times are changing. Coach,
I might have to buy me a polo shirt. I might have to reach out.
We started a new trend.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys, I wish you guys nothing but the best, and I really appreciate you having me on. It's been fun. So I can tell you guys enjoy each other, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about. And hey, Coach, welcome back to California. I wish you great success at Fresno State, and look forward to seeing you guys with the highlight plays and seeing some great athletes, and you making some great calls when you trump your offensive coordinator on that call in 4th and 2.
Right.
But Coach DeBoer, it was great having you. We appreciate you being our first head coach. We look forward to the opportunity to have more coaches, but it was a lot of fun to get to know you and hear your story and your family's journey, because when we seen the moving that you've done, and you've done that with your wife and daughters, along with you, which is absolutely amazing. So high five to your wife for being very supportive throughout the years. And that's what it all takes for all of us coaches and officials out there to have a great family and great family support. So thank you again, Coach, for being a part of the Unofficial Lounge.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. My pleasure.
Stay tuned for the next episode. As the Pac-12 season is set to resume in late October, we speak with Vice President of Officiating, Mr. David Coleman.
This is probably one of the biggest challenges I've ever had, because I was an outsider. That was tough in and of itself, because I didn't necessarily have the pedigree of the people who are in positions like I'm in. Not to say I'm not qualified for it, because I feel I totally am qualified for it.
A special thank you to Dr. Jessica Hannigan of the Alumni Association. Please visit the Hannigans Facebook group, Equity in School Discipline. And I can't forget all the timeouts, John, Ryan, and Losi.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Remember to please like and subscribe, as the Unofficial Lounge is available on all your podcast streaming outlets, including Apple, Google, Spotify, and Anchor. We look forward to you joining us next time in the Unofficial Lounge.